Welcome to another episode of Erik Wait Whiskey Studies. In this video, I'm going to do a review of the Highland Park 18-year-old Highland Single Malt Scotch Whisky. So this video is part of a series I'm doing studying for the Council of Whiskey Masters. I did another video of Highland Park Distillery, did a review of the 12-year-old. This is the 18-year-old. In that video, I did an overview of the history of Highland Park Distillery. In this video, we're going to take a brief look at the production and core range of Highland Park. The Highland Park Distillery is one of the 6 distilleries in Scotland that use homegrown grain, and one of only a handful that continue to use their own on-site maltings. Highland Park whiskey is made from 80% unpeated barley from Simpsons and 20% local barley peated on site and malted on 5 malting floors. The local barley is peated to 30 to 40 ppms. The water source for the distillery is Granite Maggie's Spring. The distillery has 11 semi-lauter mash tuns, 12 wooden washbacks, 4 stills. The whiskey is aged in 19 dunnage warehouses and 4 racked warehouses. Highland Park uses 100% sherry casks since 2004 with a mix of American and European Oloroso sherry casks, butts and hogsheads, both new and refill. Highland Park's core range consists of the 10-year-old Viking Scars, the 12-year-old Viking Honor, the 18-year-old Viking Pride, as well as a 25-year-old, 30-year-old, and 40-year-old single malt Scotch whisky. The Highland Park 18-year-old single malt Scotch whisky is aged for 18 years in high proportion of first fill seasoned European and American oak casks. It's bottled at 43% alcohol by volume and sells for anywhere between $150 and $250. The average price is $168. So in terms of the general fruit and spice character, it's very similar to the 12-year-old. However, everything is turned up a notch and it's given more depth and complexity and fills in the mid palate. But you get the figs, dates, raisins. There is a barbecue character, sort of like a barbecue rub, cinnamon, nutmeg, clove, a little bit of black pepper. There is a definitely licorice or anise character to it. There's a real nice, fine, smoky character in the middle of it, sort of like interwoven with all the aromas. So it's not like a smack up peat smoke up in your face. It's all those fruit and spice character with smoke interwoven with it. On the palate, sweet up front. Actually, the sweet carries all the way through, but in the mid palate, fills in really nice with a lot of spice, cinnamon, pepper, anise, black licorice, almost like a root beer, like a organic root beer character that you might get at a health food store. A little bit of saltiness, really long finish. I'm still tasting it now. If you're not a licorice fan, you know, the black licorice sort of kicks around and sticks around on the back end. Really nice interwoven, sort of low to moderate smoke character. Really nice. Now, a lot of these notes are very similar, if not the same, as the 12-year-old. So what's the difference between the 12-year-old and the 18-year-old? In the 12-year-old, it's a little bit more hollow in the mid palate, whereas this kicks in a lot earlier. So there's a little bit more of a delay. We're talking a little bit delay in the spice character and the oomph of the spice character on the 12-year-old. And this, the spice and the richness and the barbecue character really shows up in the mid palate. So there's a lot more going on in the progression, evolution of the flavors, particularly in the mid and into the finish. But other than that, in terms of its general character, it's very similar to the 12-year-old. So basically, it's the 12-year-old with some improvements. It's, you know, you're putting your pedal to the metal a little bit. Not a lot of oomph in terms of power and strength of the alcohol, but a better quality of flavor. Wow, it's a nice caramel chocolate on the back end. Chocolate showing up really, really nice. What I love about this whiskey is you can take a sip. So say like you're reading a book or you're having a conversation as we are now, or you're hanging out on the porch or you're sitting around a fire. I don't have to keep going back to it to taste it. I'm still tasting it now. So one of the two major things I say I really look for in whiskeys is that evolution, so it's not the same thing all the way through, the quantity and quality of the flavors, I say three things, and finally the length of finish. And the length of finish is what really, really sells this one, because I don't feel like I have to keep going back to it, which lengthens the experience of the whiskey because I can take my time enjoying the flavors. I don't have to keep sipping over and over and over and over again. A really, really nice whiskey. What would I give it in terms of score? I'm gonna go a solid 91. It just, in terms of the layers of complexity, man, the length of finish, it gets me past the 90. I gave the 12-year-old 88 points. This gets me to the 90 and just a little bit more, a 91. Well, what I want to go even higher, a little bit more kapow, a little bit more oomph, which you're gonna get in the cask strength. I've already done a review of the cask strength. I'll put a link to that one at the end of this video as well. Really, really nice. Between the three, I've reviewed the Magnus, which is, more of your budget, 35-year-old, excuse me, $30 to $35 range, 40 ABV, it's kind of soft. I reviewed that one. The 12, I reviewed a special bottling from the distillery in my video in which I share my experience at Highland Park Distillery, and now the 18-year-old, and I've reviewed the cask strength. All these whiskeys, similar spirit, similar casking, similar flavors and aromas, but different quality and intensity of flavor. In terms of price, quality ratio between all these whiskeys, what would I say, and in terms of what I would recommend? I'm going to talk about that during a live stream, which we'll do a few days after this post. All right, if you haven't already, subscribe, like, and we'll see you next time. Skål! Hey, don't forget to subscribe and check out these other whiskey videos.